Hello everyone, welcome to the tournament set of one final time. Shadows over Innistrad. The Pro Tour is done. Brian David-Marshall here with me, Rich Hagon, and you are very welcome to our end of final day wrap, where we tell you what happened on Sunday. Brian David-Marshall, what happened on Sunday?
Well, you know, we crowned a new Pro Tour champion. We saw 8 different decks in the top 8. We saw one of the all-time great top 8s in the history of the Pro Tour. We had one of our greatest players in the game playing in the 100th Pro Tour after playing in the first Pro Tour. It was just a remarkable weekend.
Yeah, and in the end, that top 8 may stand the test of time being even better than it looks right now, not least because the only player who came in without a title walks away with the biggest one of all. Just great stuff. Why don't we take a look at the top 8 bracket? There you see it coming in, and the BDM, let's take a look first of all at the quarterfinals. Where should we start? Luis Scott Vargas, Shota Yasuoka.
Sure, top of the morning, Luis Scott Vargas, the Pro Tour Hall of Famer, playing Black-Green Aristocrats. This is the super exciting deck that, you know, looks like some hybrid between Sam Black's Aristocrats deck that won Pro Tour Gatecrash and the Elves deck that won Berlin in the hands of Luis Scott Vargas.
Right.
Crazy stuff, Cryptolith's right, and but Shota Yasuoka, also a Hall of Famer, playing Esper Dragons. He figured out how to make the mana work. He figured out how to lower some of the costs of the cards in the deck, so
right,
that it would be able to come
lower to the ground.
Lower to the ground, like smaller on the lower on the mana curve, and managed to make it all work playing Esper Dragons. And it was Shota Yasuoka who emerged from that quarterfinal to defeat Luis Scott Vargas, to the benefit of our viewers, but perhaps to the detriment of Luis Scott Vargas' bank account.
Yes, because Luis Scott Vargas joined us on coverage. Meanwhile, same time, same place, John Finkel was up against Andrea Mengucci. The established deck of Bant Company, the brand new, hot off the press, Seasons Pass Control.
And I can't think of a more apropos deck name for John to be playing. When you think about this, is of course the greatest player of all time that we've been talking about. He was playing in his 16th Pro Tour top 8, 18th if you count 2 juniors Pro Tour top 8s at the beginning of his career in New York and Columbus. Played in the first Pro Tour, the 100th Pro Tour in Magic history, also playing, also winning. What a remarkable, just tip of the hat to John Finkel, the GOAT.
Yasuoka defeated Scott Vargas, but Mengucci,
yeah,
3-1 again, both of those were 3-1. Not especially close, but to be honest, the bottom half of the bracket was more of a blowout again. Let's take a look. Brad Nelson up against Steve Rubin, red-green goggles ramp against green-white tokens. If it was going to be 3-0, best guess, Brad Nelson.
Yeah, Brad Nelson was defeating everybody this weekend. He was just, a force to be reckoned with. He was playing this really crazy ramp deck that used Pyromancer's Goggles and Fall of the Titans to just do 22 damage out of nowhere. And, you know, this is the third, by the way, I should mention, of former player of the years in our top 8. Brad Nelson joining Shota Yasuoka and John Finkel as former player of the years. Just one of the top seeds throughout the tournament. Playing in Steve Rubin, the only player in our top 8 who did not have a trophy yet on his mantle, despite a tremendous platinum season last year on the Pro Tour.
Well, it was 3-0, as we say, but it was Steve Rubin who advanced, and then he would play the winner of Seth Manfield and Luis Salvato. Now, Seth Manfield we know a lot about, reigning world champion, #2 ranked player in the world, in the lead for Player of the Year race by the end of this weekend.
Absolutely, yeah. Our world champion moved to a new team for this event, joined East-West Bowl, who of course won the last Pro Tour.
And had 3 in the top 8 then. Andrew Brown, Pascal Menard.
Yeah, but you know, Seth Manfield joins that team. They come with Esper Control, designed by Andrew Brown, who top 8'd that last Pro Tour.
Yes.
And this was a creatureless deck. And a field full of Bant Company, lots of planeswalkers, lots of creature lands, lots of spells to control the board. And Seth Manfield played against Luis Salvato, the Sunday Super Series champion from 2015 from Argentina, playing a very innovative red-white Eldrazi Goggles deck. Had a lot of the same red core as the red-green Goggles ramp deck, but it had also had a lot of spot removal for the creature decks. A pretty poor matchup for Salvato against Manfield's deck that had no creatures.
Right, and look, if you are a fan of Goggles, Don't be misled by the fact that Nelson lost 3-0 and also Salvato lost 3-0. Seth Manfield advanced there. If you want to take goggles for a spin, 2020 Vision says you absolutely can.
Of course, the goggles deck did put up the 0-0 goggles in the quarterfinals.
All right, semi-final one, Mengucci against Yasuoka. Who wins?
Well, this went to 5 games, and it was the World Magic Cup champion, Andrea Mengucci, who advanced over Shota Yasuoka.
And that meant the most populous deck coming into the tournament, Bank Company, 87 people sleeved that up. One of them was left, but they got all the way to the final.
Public enemy number 1.
Okay, so what about Rubin against Manfield, Tokens against Esper Control?
Former teammates, now both on new teams for this tournament, meet up in the semifinals. Seth Manfield's Esper Control deck took it to 5 games, but in the end, it was the green-white Tokens deck and Archangel Avacyn that advanced to the finals against Andrea Mengucci.
So at that point, we'd had 2 3-1s, we'd had 2 3-0s, we'd had 2 3-2s. All we wanted was a decent final. Did we get one?
Oh, it was an excellent final between 2 great young players in this game. It went to 4 games, and it was Steve Rubin, the last uncrowned player in our top 8, taking home a trophy, taking home a giant check, and locking up a slot for himself at the World Championship.
Yeah, and there you see him surrounded by his team. You've got Mike Sigris there in the background, even Flock. Brian Braun who was instrumental in the making of the deck.
Of course, Alexander Hayne, who won mainly in Spain.
Sam Pardy, Nathan Holiday there. Absolutely thrilled for him. Don't worry, he's about to fall, but not actually break his leg.
It still makes me nervous, even though I know he doesn't fall.
He's all right. He's all right. But Steve Rubin is your champion of Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. 2 amazing formats, not just because we had 8 different decks in the top 8, but the whole field was incredibly diverse. We leave with more questions than answers. You don't want a solved format. We didn't get one. And as for Limited, I think you've got at least half a dozen new archetypes up your sleeve.
I want to go draft right now. To be honest, I want to go draft right now.
Would you like some good news?
Yes.
You can go draft right now.
Excellent.
For Brian David-Marshall, until we meet again on the Pro Tour, wherever we are around the world playing this great game of ours, I'm your host, Rich Hagan, saying bye. Go on then, go draft.
Go
draft. Do it.
Well, it's only 7, we need you.
I always.